Long ago, when the world was bright and full of stories, an evil wizard gained the power to touch the face of God. Narrativa, goddess of stories and weaver of our world, banished him to the void, but not before he stole a piece of her divine essence. With this newfound power, the wizard lay a dread curse upon all the world, the Glyph Purge, which struck from the minds of all mortals the knowledge of how to read and write. Now, all that stand between the Isle of Meotia and an age of endless ignorance are the bards, who tell stories of distant lands, exotic creatures, and brave heroes. This is one such tale.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the latest and greatest D&D podcast to hit the internet airwaves, Challenge Rating 0. I am Sam, the Dungeon Master, and I am joined as always by my longtime friends and adventuring companions.
Hi, I'm Brian. I play Hector the Gatekeeper.
Hey, I'm Beth. I play Rilla Longshadow.
And last but not least, we have the man who calls himself Michael, but who we call Parker. Michael Parker. Say hi, Parker.
Hi, Parker.
Fantastic. So, when last we left our heroes, we had a very dramatic special episode of Challenge Rating 0. Zurabak's dark past was revealed. A lovely conversation was had between Rilla Longshadow and the Druid Talon atop the structure known as the Boneyard. And I believe Hector
I played with my dog.
You played with your dog, and it was great and adorable and awesome. So, I guess let's do this official. When we last left our heroes, Rilla, Hector, Zurabak, and the Bard Sebastian had finally made it to the Circle of the Serpent and their home base known as the Boneyard, a massive, sprawling skeleton, the remains of some long-dead creature, inside of which the Circle of the Serpent makes their home. You were greeted by the head of security, Talon, a female druid who likes birds. And you all met up with Trapjaw, the leader of the Circle of the Serpent. You explained the terrible plot put in place by those fucking hillbillies. And explained the conflict they were trying to rile up between you two. Zurabak was told his secret origin story, the fact that the Cult of the Stricken had destroyed his family while he was a wee babe. And the very last thing we did was you guys met Gator, the massive, powerful, and ancient druid. The person Sebastian Weaver came to the Briar Marsh to meet in the first place. So, our story begins this time with the three of you standing out front of the Boneyard, the massive skeleton towering over you, woven with vines, trees, and all sorts of plant life. Various animals who you assume to be druids or their companions slither and fly and crawl around you. And looming over you is Gator, this 10-foot tall alligator, an ancient, powerful druid who has just dragged themselves from their rest to greet Sebastian. Sebastian looks up at this enormous reptile and says, "Oh, thank goodness. After all this time in these horrid environs, I thought I'd never get the chance. I wouldn't live long enough to finally make your acquaintance. Gator, it is an absolute pleasure to meet you." And Gator, this enormous reptile, looks down with slitted eyes and says, "Oh, Sebastian, I'm so glad you could finally come. I was starting to fear my message hadn't reached you all the way up in Everspring. And you've brought friends. I'm familiar with Zurabak. I've seen him here and there, but these two are unfamiliar. The trees spoke to me of foreign feet on our soil, but I don't believe I've had the pleasure. Who might you two be?"
I am Hector, the Gatekeeper, eldest son of the Gatekeeper clan and keeper of the gates.
"A pleasure to make your acquaintance. I am Gator, the arch-druid of the Circle of the Serpent and protector of all the Briar Marsh. And you, my dear?"
I am Rilla of Clan Longshadow, and I am from The Springville Forest. That took a minute.
Ah, yes, beautiful trees. A lovely, lovely forest. It's been so long since I've traveled the world, but it is good to see that the elven people are still strong and thriving. Well, it seems that you all are pressed for time. If I understand correctly, the village of Bramble has some poor souls waiting for this antitoxin.
Zurbak shrugs.
Yes, yes. Zurbak, I'm sure you could take it or leave it, but I'm sure these two would like to finish this quest. I know I sure would, Sebastian says. Well, I could assist with that. I am skilled in long-forgotten magics. I could get you back to Bramble quite quickly if you'd be willing to accept the help of an old druid.
I point at my raft.
Oh, Zurbak. I guess when you're wielding a hammer, every problem seems like a nail. No, I can get you back much quicker. And safer! Much safer as well? Oh, yes, Sebastian, much safer. Well, I guess without further ado, if you all would just climb on up, Gator says, and lowers down to the ground to allow you all to climb up onto its back.
How big is she?
Gator, let's go with it for now.
Okay.
You cannot, unless you're a herpetologist, you're not going to know. You're going to have to reach and play.
herpetologist. Can I roll a profession herpetologist?
I don't believe that's one of the skills on your sheet, Hector, but thank you very much. Yeah, Gator is 10 feet tall, lowers down to the ground, but there are plenty of scales and ridges that you might climb if you'd like. You don't got to roll for it.
Hector trembles with excitement.
I go grab my raft and some rope.
Okay. Zurbak goes to get his raft. Hector trembles with excitement, and Sebastian gleefully scrambles his way up the broad, scaly side of this enormous alligator. Do you guys follow suit?
Yeah.
After I tie my raft to Gator.
Yes, of course. We wouldn't want you to lose any valuable possessions on this journey. Trust me, this will only take a few moments.
Is the raft your home?
No.
I put Book like over the back of my neck and climb up, and just I'm really fucking pumped for this, you guys.
Are you pulling a Captain Morgan pose in the back of this 10-foot alligator right now?
No, I'm much more basic than that. I'm just like standing up, going, woo!
Excellent. So you all scramble up, and Gator starts to turn towards some of the larger trees that ring the outside of the boneyard. Gator takes a step forward, then stops, opens and closes its mouth a couple times, says, "Oh dear, I think I have something stuck in my teeth. Talon, would you be a dear and help me out?" Talon says, "Oh yeah, no problem," and turns into a heron, this beautiful long-limbed bird, and flaps up into Gator's mouth and picks at Gator's gums and pulls out just a huge cluster of bones and skin and hops out. Gator says, "Oh, thank you, dear. That was bothering me greatly." "Yeah, no problem." And with that, Gator takes a couple steps and starts walking directly toward a giant tree, an enormous, towering mangrove with a trunk twice as wide as even Gator's great girth. And as Gator's...
I tap on Rilla's shoulder repeatedly. This is going to be really fucking cool. Just watch. This is going to be really cool.
Okay. Jesus. Calm down.
And Gator stops directly in front of this tree for half a heartbeat, and you hear a few strange syllables spoken, and suddenly the bark of this tree ripples. Once, then twice, and then Gator keeps walking directly into it. You all see as Gator's nose, then Gator's head, then neck, then all of it just melds completely into the bark of this gigantic tree, walking through it as if it was a curtain of water, and it washes over all of you as well. You all find yourselves moving, just piercing through the bark of this tree, and it flows right over you. Everything's white for a second, flashing brilliantly, and after a few moments...
I run back on Gator to like as far back as I can get so I can do that again.
Yeah, you go a little bit into the tree, and then you pull yourself back out and run all the way to the tip of Gator's tail and just, woo! As Gator makes its way through.
I'm just going, fall, fall, fall.
Everything,
I believe it's spring, dear.
everything flashes white for a few seconds. There's a rushing in your ears. And then as suddenly as it starts, you all are back in the world again. Out of this white space, you see trees, you see the brackish black water of the swamp, the buzzing of insects, the dank heat is back upon you. And Zurabak, you realize immediately, with your familiarity with this place, that you are a mile outside of the city of Bramble. You have walked out of another enormous tree, Gator's huge form crawling out of the substance of this tree with you all on its back, and you are barely a mile from Bramble. You can see some of the bone white wood that makes up the town peeking over the greenery at the very, very edge of your sight. Sebastian heaves an enormous sigh of relief. Oh, by the goddess narrative, thank you. Thank you, Gator. This is the greatest gift I could have hoped for.
Right? It's really exciting.
Ruined my fun.
Yes, I'm sorry, Zorabak, but time is of the essence. There's some people waiting for these antitoxin, isn't that right? Yes, and there's a few of us waiting for respite from this horrid place. I cannot thank you enough. Will you be joining us in town, Gator? Oh, no, I don't think that's a very good idea. They don't usually like it when I am seen anywhere near the town. I'll be here waiting for you all when you return. We've much to discuss, Sebastian. Yes, absolutely. And we'll be back as soon as we've finished our business. Well, companions, shall we go finish our quest?
Let us save the town of Bramble.
Indeed.
I unstrapped the raft.
So important.
Incredibly important. Mm-hmm. So you all scramble off of Gator's back and head back to the city of Bramble. The very few guards that remain active in the town see you all coming as you approach, and they wave you in. Mayor Pike comes alongside them as you guys approach and says in his growly voice, "So, you're back. I guess it's good the swamp didn't kill you. You don't seem poisoned either. Did you bring the antitoxin?"
Yep.
Curt, to the point. I appreciate that. Let me see it. Where's it at?
We present him with the antitoxin.
Waiting for you guys. Communal storytelling.
Mark the 20 antitoxins off our loot.
Yeah, you better erase that from your inventory. I'm not playing around.
Don't have that anymore.
5 sessions from now. Remember the 20 antitoxins? It's not how we do things. So you
Give it to the town. Fuck that town.
just leave with 20 vials of antitoxin.
We gave
for
them
no
20
reason.
vials of more poison.
Alignment change. Good
And now
lord.
this is an evil campaign.
Yeah.
Rewrite the story.
I don't need to rewrite anything. I'm a dungeon master. I'll make it work. Spoilers. So you all fork over the antitoxin. Mayor Pike says, finally. I appreciate the hard work. It's It's gonna mean everything to this town to have this back. I'm gonna head to the clinic right now and make sure Butcher's not lopping off any limbs. I tell you what, why don't you folks, why don't you take a rest? You can stay at my place. It's the closest thing we got to a inn in town. And when I say I mean it's an old inn. I have the top floor, but you guys can, there's rooms and food if you guys wanna take your rest. Sebastian says, "Oh yes, that does sound lovely. I think
Unfortunately, adventure calls. We should return to our friend, the giant alligator we were just riding on."
Mayor Pike looks you up and down and says, "There's a giant alligator out there?"
I know, it's awesome.
Hillbillies too, and a dragon.
I'm gonna need you guys to start from the beginning.
These two are not doing a good job of explaining anything, huh?
Not at all.
Yeah.
Rilla, maybe, do you want to take a stab at this? Because I have no idea what's going on.
The druids aren't the bad guys.
That's good to
They
hear.
they gave us the antitoxins for you.
Hillbillies.
Hillbillies, however, were poisoning people with the wrong poison to try and make you fight the druids. And the giant alligator is also a druid, so it's fine.
You're trying to tell me that a band of hillbillies out there were framing the circle of the serpent to make us go after him?
Yep.
Why in the name of the goddess would they do that?
Question, do I still have the amulet of the stricken? Or did that get taken from me?
No, yeah, you got it.
Cool. I pull that out. They worship this guy.
Is that what I think it is? Mayor Pike says, and he looks down at Sebastian. Sebastian's like, "That is correct. It would seem that our dread enemies, the cult of the stricken, have reached even this far south. I've heard tell of them. They want the end of the world or something, right?"
Also, they're inbred.
Yeah.
So it's twice as bad. Maybe
Ugh.
even 3 times.
Remind me not to eat their bread, then. Ugh.
Okay.
You'll get them next time, champ, says Sebastian. So, let me get this straight. The cult of the stricken was trying to frame the circle of the serpent so that we'd go out there and try to murder him.
Yep.
That doesn't sit well with me. I don't like being manipulated. I don't like being lied to. We're gonna have to do something about this.
I mean, we killed the ones we found already.
Oh, well that's good.
I don't know if there are more, but we killed the ones that, were around. Unfortunately, the dragon is real, and we did see it out in the swamps.
Okay,
so-
hold on, wait. Okay, there's a
Yeah.
dragon out there.
Yeah, there's definitely a dragon out there.
You've seen a dragon in these swamps.
It ate a hippo.
Just as he gives you this incredulous stare, you do see a small shadow flit over his face and the bone white wood of the streets of Bramble behind him, and he looks up, and you guys see just the tiniest silhouette of what could only be a dragon just flying past the town. He looks up, shielding his eyes from the sun, and says, "Okay, so it's a lot worse than I thought it was. Okay, I'm gonna have to rethink some things. This is not good. All right. Well, you've brought me a great boon and also really dampened my spirits. I appreciate and resent it.
Would you rather not know about the dragon?
No, I mean, I'm glad I know about the dragon. Don't get me wrong, Rilla. I appreciate it. But oh boy. Okay. Well, I tell you what. You gotta get back. I'm sure you got bigger stuff going on than just what's going on in this town.
Yes, the
Just-
alligator is very big.
Right. Just hang out here for a little bit. Just for a minute. I may have something for you. Hold on. He snaps his fingers and he walks away from you guys, his wiry form hunched over. under the weight of all this antitoxin. His 2 guards flanking him as he wanders off towards the clinic. You guys are kind of left standing there.
Guys, we're getting presents.
Do you think it's 3 little presents or 1 big present we have to share?
These are all excellent questions.
I'm okay with sharing.
I'll need to check into my wagon and make sure everything's all right. There's many valuables there, and I've never been to this town before. I can't be sure that the locals are trustworthy. And Sebastian scurries off to his wagon, his gigantic wagon of wonders.
I bet he's taking a bath.
He absolutely is taking a bath. He's gone.
Back nods.
Yeah, he's gone for like an hour. It's a while. Leaving you guys in the courtyard. You guys can grab a drink if you'd like. From the Broken Snare, the only bar in this entire town. There's a weathered old barmaid cleaning a glass behind it.
That sounds lovely.
You guys.
Who's up for drinks?
Yeah, all right.
I'll buy the first round.
Zerback shrugs.
All right, so you slap some coins down on the bar and buy a round for everyone. It's like 1 silver piece for 3 beers. It's fine. Let's get some mugs of snake bite sour is what it's called. It's a snake bite sour beer. It's got a lovely kick to it. It electrifies the palate. So you guys drink up some of the local brew. It's nowhere near as potent as Highlander grog, but it goes down pretty smooth. And after you guys have had had a round, Sebastian finally returns, and so does Mayor Pike. Sebastian looks incredibly clean. He's still missing some of his blood. He's a shade or 2 lighter, but you see he's like putting on some foundation with a powder puff as he approaches you. Get back some of my natural color. There we go. Let's get how do I look? Is it looking better?
You look only slightly blood drained now, my good friend.
Fantastic. That's exactly what I was going for. Mayor Pike returns. All right, well, Butcher was only halfway through someone's leg by the time I got back there. I think they can save it. It's a close call, but...
How fortunate.
Indeed. You guys got back just in time, so... The antitoxin's being distributed. Everything should be fine. It'll take a few days for everyone to get back on their feet, but... You've done this town a great service. It's not lost on us, and, well, I've got a reward for you. And he pulls out a bag and sets it on the table, and it has the very satisfying clatter of coins. Beautiful coins. It's like, that should cover the cost of your death-defying journey into the swamp, and a couple of you seem a little worse for wear. We appreciate what you've done for us, and honestly, this is nothing compared to what we're gonna keep making now that our hunters and trappers are better. You guys open the gold coins, or the bag of coins. There are 600 gold pieces, 200 for each of you. Congratulations, you just got paid. And as you guys accept this reward of gold, Sebastian says, well, nothing more satisfying than a quest completed. We've saved a town from dread poison. We've unraveled a sinister plot to pit 2 forces against each other. And, well, I've learned a lot about Zurabak from this trip. I don't know about you all.
Yes.
So I suppose the only thing left is to head back out into the swamp.
Into adventure.
Into adventure.
Yay.
Zerback smiles.
So you guys head back out. It is a short walk back to where Gators posted up. And as you guys return to the large tree that Gator traveled through to get here, you see, instead of a small clearing in front of an enormous tree, what sits there now is almost like a pavilion. through some strange druidic magic, instead of a clearing, there is a thick screen, this like circular wall of thorny vines making a natural barrier. There's a small doorway in it that allows you guys access, and inside there's a thin tree that's grown right in the middle of this clearing, and its branches have spread out to make a natural like awning canopy for it. You walk back out into this natural pavilion that is enormous enough for Gator to be laying down in it with plenty of room to spare for you folks. Here says, you're back. So glad to see you return. I hope that everything's well in Bramble. I took the liberty of preparing a bit of shelter. We've much to discuss, and I figured it might be nice if we had a more comfortable place to have this conversation. Has Sebastian told you all why he came all this way to see me?
He says a lot of things.
But not why we are out here.
Sort of.
I stopped listening.
Sebastian looks at all of you a little shamefaced. Says, yes, I suppose in the heat of the moment and the excitement of the adventure, I may have forgotten to clue them in to why exactly I dragged them all the way down here. Oh, Sebastian, you scamp. Well, allow me to elucidate. I've always loved your vocabulary. Yes, I've learned a lot from our friendship, Sebastian.
I don't know what that word means, but it's a very nice word.
Lyrical, you might say. Sebastian and I have been trading correspondence for a little bit. I've been sending birds to Everspring to inform him of the rare and, well, lost things that I've found here, and he's sent word back as he could. I finally was able to lure him down here with the promise of a rather enticing find. Sebastian, like all bards, is devoted to ending the glyph purge, stopping this horrid curse that lays on the land, and I, for one, support that quest. I have found something in these swamps, something ancient, something I believe could be the key, the first step to fixing all of this. And I could think of no one better than Sebastian Weaver to entrust it to. Sebastian's like drooling. Sebastian's looking at this, like his eyes wide, his mouth agape. He's like, yes, and what would that be? You never exactly said what it was. What would that be? He's like vibrating. Like, I believe I may have found a grimoire.
Ooh, what's a grimoire?
An excellent question. A grimoire is a book, basically. It's the simplest way to refer to it. It's an old tome. They used to belong to the wizards that dotted the lands. I'm sure the elves have a few of these lying around for...
My aunt had one.
Yes. They are large books full of powerful spells, arcane runes, and the mysteries of the universe. How to manipulate the forces of nature. You've found a grimoire? Sebastian says, and Gator looks down and says, yes, and not just any grimoire. I think this might be the grimoire of the stricken themselves. Sebastian hits the roof. He jumps up and down in a circle. You're kidding! The Stricken's grimoire, the spell book of the very wizard that laid the glyph purge in the first place?
Zurbag yawns deeply.
This could be the key to everything. This could unlock ancient secrets that we could use to fix the world. This is incredible.
But I thought they hated books.
The cult of the stricken seeks to burn all remaining knowledge, but the stricken themselves, before they cursed all the world, was a powerful wizard.
How does a grimoire no one can read help us?
That is a very good question. I'm almost afraid to share this. I can trust you three, right?
Zerback scratches his stomach.
Undoubtedly.
Absolutely.
Well, this is just a rumor so far, but the lore masters at the College of Everspring, the living reliquaries of all the knowledge that the bards collect all over the Isle of Meosha, they've been tracking rumors of means to pull knowledge from all of the writings that we bards collect in the world. It's just a rumor at this point, but even so, even if we're unable to glean any knowledge from it now, simply having it, if it is truly what you say, Gator, simply having it in our possession would be an enormous boon. The goddess Narrativa blesses us bards and her lore masters with the glimpses of knowledge, small slivers of things that average mortals cannot know. Just having it, just being near it, we may be able to gain something that's been lost. Not to mention that having it taken away from any evils that might wish to lay claim to it is worth it in and of itself. Gator, where is this? Where have you kept it? Oh, Sebastian, it is hidden securely in my lair. Past many traps and many trials for anyone foolish enough to try to break in and steal it. Oh, I'm so glad to hear that. Something this important can't just be left sitting out. Oh, no, of course not. I would never leave it out where anything could happen to it. Gator kind of trails off, gets a spacey look in their reptilian eye. What was that? Gator says, talking to no one that you guys can see. Sebastian says, what? Gator, what is it? The trees speak to me. There's someone in my lair, something in my lair. Oh, this is not good. We'll have to go presently. I'd hoped to have a little more time to get to know you all before we had to rush out again. Well, I guess there's
no better way to get to know us than to watch us slay evildoers.
That is a good point. Are you ready? I'm not sure exactly what is in there, but my wards have definitely been triggered. Do you think you're all ready?
A protagonist is always ready.
Zerback shrugs.
We might as well go.
Away!
Sebastian holds up a hand and says, hold on. One moment. One moment, please. You are all mighty heroes, I'm sure, and, well, I know. But I think we might need a moment to collect ourselves. You've been through quite a few trials already on your first quest, and this one, I'm sure, will be rather arduous. Perhaps we need a moment to reflect and gauge our experiences. And then the Dungeon Master says, it's time to level up, y'all! You have gained enough experience from your previous adventure to level up. You are all now level 2 characters. For those of you that don't know, and by God, at this point, if you don't know, thank you for staying with us. Dungeons & Dragons is a game where your character increases in power and skill over time. You gain experience points by overcoming challenges and defeating enemies. And when you've had enough experiences and done enough cool stuff, you get to level up. You get more health, you get more powers, you get more skills. So before we go on this next epic quest to retrieve this grimoire from Gator's lair, we're going to go ahead and level you guys up, which we're going to do on mic. Spoiler alert, if you do not care about stats, you do not have to listen to this part, but boy, we care about stats. So let's just do this one at a time real quick, just so we can get into some of the nuts and bolts of this. So let's start with, I don't know, Hector the Gatekeeper, Keeper of the Gates.
That's me.
You get to level up, which is awesome. So you're going from a level 1 barbarian to a level 2 barbarian, is that correct?
That is correct.
Fantastic. So looking at our player's handbook here, what kind of cool stuff do you get for being a level 2 barbarian? Anything special?
Well, as a fighting class, it's fairly straightforward. I do gain Uncanny Dodge.
Ooh, that's fun.
Yeah,
So what does that do?
that's a good question.
So our barbarian friend gains Uncanny Dodge. And that is actually a pretty dope ability. Basically, you gain the ability to react to danger before your senses would normally allow you to do so. So even if Hector is caught flat-footed or attacked by someone that they can't see, he still gets to add his full dexterity modifier to his armor class, meaning that he cannot be surprised, which is very, very cool. So Hector, you get a preternatural sense of danger and can uncannily dodge it, which is pretty dope. You're also going to get more health points. 1d12, you get to roll a d12 and add your constitution modifier. Add that to your health. And since we're playing 3.5, sorry nerds, you get some skill points as well. I don't think we necessarily need to get into the nitty-gritty of how you're assigning your skill points. We will most likely post the players' character sheets, especially after level ups, just to, I don't know, sort of, if anyone cares, give folks a little insight into how we're building these things. And let's see. I think that's all Hector gets. You get Uncanny Dodge. You get your attack bonus goes up a little bit. Saving throws go up a little bit. Very, very cool. Rilla Longshadow, you're going from a level 1 sorceress to a level 2 sorceress. Is that correct?
Correct.
Fantastic. So let's see.
So I get one extra 0 level spell. And that's the only new one I learn at level 2.
Gotcha.
But I also get to now do 6 0 level spells a day instead of 5, and 4 first level instead of 3.
Oh, fantastic. So Rilla gets to tap deeper into her inborn arcane power, and you get mastery over an additional spell, as well as the ability to cast more spells per day than normal, which hasn't been a problem so far. So, do you know what spell you may pick for this level?
For the 0 level spell?
Oh, yeah, what cantrip? Cantrips are fun.
Shoot. Not a fan. I need a second.
Okay. Rilla's looking
let
up
me
what
get
spells
back
she
there.
likes. She also gets increased health points. I think she gets to roll a d4 and add that to her stuff.
Yep.
Yeah. And then Zurabak, the druid.
In addition to the D8 of health I got, the 1 increase to base attack and 1 increase to my fortitude save, I get Woodland Stride, which allows me to ignore natural difficult terrain. I can move through it freely. Not magical, non-magical. And also I got some new spell slots. Woo!
Excellent. So our druid Zurabak now gains the ability to move freely through any natural hazards that may be creeping up in his path, which is very, very cool and very useful. And also get some more spell slots so we can throw some more spells out there. I gotta say, got 2 casters in this party. It's very interesting how reserved you guys are with your spell casting. It's kind of nice.
None of my spells are so far good for combat. Literally none of them.
Sure. Well, why don't we tell the listeners, I don't think we've even gone into this, and we may as well just start unpacking this now. Rilla, what are your spells? What kind of spells you got? As a sorceress, you have a fixed set of spells, unlike Zurabak, our druid, who can pick willy-nilly every time he wakes up in the morning.
So currently my 4 0 level spells are Resistance, which gives you a +1 on saving throws, message, which sends a message. Prestidigitation. Yeah, prestidigitation, because that's fun. And I have used that one. And
we may have
detect
lost that
magic.
audio, actually. I don't know if we've got
Did we?
I think we did.
Oh,
Welcome
for
to
shame.
podcasting. My
For
apologies.
shame.
Well, you can cast that whenever you want. That's
I
for fun.
cast little fake fireworks for children. And I have detect magic. So actually, I was thinking about it because I could stick with this and get like dancing lights for our human. So if we go into a dark place, he can see.
Dancing lights are fun.
But I could also get my first damaging spell and do Ray of Frost.
Ooh,
so
Ray
that
of
I can
Frost is a
actually
fun one.
Hurt someone with magic because my bow abilities are not fantastic yet.
The archery has been a little slippery here in the swamps.
You get a 0 and a first?
No, I just get a 0 this time.
a 0?
Yep.
Yeah. And
All
my
right.
2 first level spells, since we're talking about my spells, are Mage Armor, which gives you a +4 to AC for now. Well, for 2 hours now.
Yeah.
And I got Feather Fall, so I won't die tragically if I leap off a cliff.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Well, that's good
Well,
stuff. Yeah, it's great for tree
knows?
climbing. Cool. Awesome. So, yeah, getting some extra health points, getting some more power, some cool abilities. Hector can now not be backstabbed as as easily. His body naturally moves out of the way of dangers, and Zerback can traverse thorns and natural hazards without getting slowed down, and Rilla gets another magical
And read magic
spell.
is obviously not a real spell in this world, correct?
What's up?
Did you read magic? It's in there, but we obviously don't have that.
Read magic would be of limited utility in this campaign. That's correct. Yes.
I think I'm gonna lean with my not using damage because my damage is my bow.
Sure.
I think I'm just gonna get dancing lights so I can help Hector.
Dancing lights is just fun in a lot of different ways. So dancing lights make some like tiny orbs of light, or you can shape it into a bunch of different kinds of shapes and just move it around like a will-o-wisp or a ghost or something, which is cool. So, also, how many more health points did you guys get? Did you roll good? Did you roll good?
Ish.
How many health points did you get?
7.
7? That's pretty good. That's pretty good. 7
pretty
more
good.
health points.
Yeah.
What's your
Yeah.
total now? For the
18?
listeners.
17.
17. Oh, it's a beefy level
no,
too.
I gained 8 because 8 plus 9 is 17.
Okay, there you go.
I wasn't looking at my sheet.
Rilla, how many health points do you have now?
I just got 5 more, which puts me at 11 total.
Nice. That's not bad for a
Nice.
sorceress.
11 total health points.
Okay,
total.
Hector. All right, Hector fronting. What you got? What
What?
you got, Brian?
Huh? No, I was complimenting her. I gained 12
Oh my God.
this level, so I'm at 27 total.
Oh, beefy. So
I am
beefy.
the meat shield.
You are the meat shield. That is correct. All right. So, congratulations, heroes. You've all gained a level. Your experiences traversing the Briar Marsh have given you access to more
Even
powerful
better
abilities.
at hitting things.
I have a base attack bonus now.
Oh my goodness! Look at you. Rilla's even better. All that
so do
missing
I.
really helped you out with the archery. Then you're gonna.
Me too. I mean, I did from the beginning, but
I assumed you gained a second one.
yeah.
All right.
Combat class.
So we're all better at hitting. We're all better at our saving throws and got some special abilities. Fantastic.
I am better at the most meat shieldiest saving throw, and that is the only saving throw that I am better at.
So I like.
Same.
So I'd like to think that in fiction, Gator says that someone's breaking into my house, and you guys are like, let's go, let's do this. And Sebastian's like, hold on, wait a minute, let's sit and just have a moment and think about what we've been through together. And you guys all just like Super Saiyan charge up, like, yeah, no, you're right. I'm glad we took this moment to reflect.
Or we just like glow for a second,
Yeah.
like in Dragon Age Origins.
Yeah, yeah. You guys definitely get that little.
Oh, and then
sheen.
we say something witty, I'm sure.
Oh, absolutely. Cool.
Something witty.
Well. So now that we've all leveled up,
Rilla needs to get smarter.
well.
You mean prettier?
No, I have 2 skill points a level, so.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I got 5.
I got 4.
So.
I'm not smart. Sorry.
Oh, that's surprising that barbarian. I mean, I guess there's a lot of utility things for barbarians to do, survival and
Yes.
handle animal.
Yeah, yeah. So, our heroes have leveled up, gained in power and experience. Back in the fiction, you all take a moment to reflect on your experiences. You all sort of metamorphosize. You get a nice golden sheen, and then you level up. Sebastian looks at all of you and says, "Ah, yes. Now I think we're ready for an epic adventure."
Hector puffs his chest out.
Zorback groans.
I'll call this one The Tale of the Grimoire. No, wait. The Tale of the what's lost has been no.
Can I say that Rilla just curved her chest in to be the opposite of Hector? The puffier he gets, the more she like curls in on herself.
Inverse proportion.
Yes.
Oh, well, let us away. Adventure awaits. Hello there, and welcome back to As the Dice Turns, the podcast after the podcast, where we take a deep dive into our players' characters' psychology and their inner workings. Here in this segment, we like to ask each of our player characters a question that we hope will uncover some secret, unturned stones in their minds. See what comes crawling out. Today's question is one with a bit of nostalgia in it. Today's question is, what is your earliest memory? This could be the first thing you remember, your first experience, the first thing that stands out, something from your childhood. What is your first memory, your earliest memory? That is the question for today. We will pose this first to Hector, the Gatekeeper. Hector, lovely to have you in the studio once again. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing great, as always. I gotta say, whatever you're wearing today, I don't know if it's perfume or cologne, it smells amazing. Thank you.
Always the flatter, Hector. I do appreciate that. Sharon actually bought me a new cologne, so it's I'm very glad you noticed. Sharon spent a pretty penny on it. Thank you, Sharon. The cologne's good. Yeah. So.
Well, it is delicious.
Oh, always so charming, Hector. It's a pleasure to have you in the studio. So, Hector, what is your earliest memory?
Well, the first thing I can remember is a vague, kind of innocuous memory of me at like 2 or 3. I think I was throwing rocks at a wall.
Fantastic.
But I guess what you're more looking for is my first complete memory.
Yes, something perhaps a bit more well-formed.
That would probably be, I guess I was about 5 or 6 when my dad first let me come along on a trip escorting some people through the gates. It was the first time I ever got to see our territory in a more complete manner, in a way other than just looking off of, the highest peaks of our actual settlement itself.
So the first time you left Giant's Rest, the enormous citadel in which the Gatekeeper clan lives. So your earliest memory is your father taking you out on the road to escort some travelers through the treacherous mountains known as the Gate.
It was a great time with me and my dad, and it's also when I met my first bard.
Oh, well, that's a lovely memory. I hope the trip went well. Were there any dangers?
Oh, no,
any
perils? It was a low risk trip. That's why he let me accompany.
Oh, that's fantastic. And do you have any keepsakes, knickknacks, any particular souvenirs from that first trip?
I think I have a rock in my bag.
Of course, yes, the rock. Amazing. A lovely keepsake. Well, that is a lovely answer, a nice, wholesome answer, a lovely first trip with your father, perusing the lands that will one day be yours. Lovely. Next, let's go to Rilla Longshadow. Thank you so much for coming to the studio once again. I know you're very busy.
So busy all the time.
Yes, well, we appreciate you carving out time to do this little show with us. So, Rilla, what's your earliest memory?
I think, like Hector, I'm going to go with what you actually want, which is a full memory.
If you please.
And unfortunately, mine is not as pleasant. So my first memory is the day that they told me that my parents had passed away. I was very small. In your sort of sense, I would have been maybe 4 or 5. Human ages are weird.
4 or 5 relative to human years.
Yes, not elven years.
Of
I'm
course
I'm
not.
trying to make a good comparison here.
Well, I certainly appreciate that.
I was small. And as they delicately tried to explain to me what had happened, I became more and more upset and self-conscious, and I exhibited magic for the first time. I pulled clouds from nowhere and wrapped them around myself. It was prestidigitation. And thus began the terrible, terrible attention that was forced upon me the rest of my childhood.
Quite a powerful moment indeed. Getting the worst news of your life, and also realizing that you have this nearly lost arcane power, gaining the knowledge that you've lost your parents, and also gaining the desperate attention of the members of your tribe that want to use your powers and study them. That's quite a complex mix of emotions there. I thank you for being vulnerable enough to share that with us and our listeners. It is much appreciated.
What can I say? I love the smoothies.
Well, Sharon works hard on them. She really does. It's become quite the ritual here. Well, thank you very much. That's quite a vulnerable reveal there, and we certainly appreciate it. And last but not least, Zurabak the Druid. Zurabak, thank you for joining us once again in the studio. We know that you hate lights and chairs and people, so that you've wandered your way in here again is miraculous, honestly. We certainly appreciate your time.
I like free food.
Well, yes, and we do whatever we can to tempt you in whenever possible. So, Zurabak, the question is this: what's your earliest memory?
The moon is high in the sky. I'm stalking the halls I grew up in.
In the Boneyard, the home of the Circle of the Serpent, yes?
Creeping through, I spot the biggest monitor lizard you've ever seen. Just on a pedestal almost, begging to be eaten. I slide across the wall, and I stealthily approach. I wait for that perfect moment, and then I pounce. Mouth first, biting him right in the side. I don't remember much after that.
Well, Zurabak, I must say that sounds like quite the harrowing experience, a lovely early memory, certainly showcasing your skills and talents in creeping around and biting things, though I have to say, the description you gave of an enormous monitor lizard in the boneyard where you were raised, sitting on a giant pedestal, did you bite Trapjaw, the leader of your druid circle? Is that what you're telling me?
Yes.
Well, that is quite the bold move.
I have no souvenirs, but he does.
Yes. Well, quite the little scamp. Quite the little scamp back in the day, it would seem. Always causing trouble. Well, I can imagine why you don't remember much after that. If I took a bite of the leader of a powerful druid circle, I doubt I'd walk away unscathed myself.
He wouldn't let me get close for a second.
Well, that is a lovely memory and quite a daunting feat, I must say, to have taken a bite out of the powerful Trapjaw. Quite impressive. Well, thank you, all of you, for sharing those lovely stories. I know that these questions can sometimes be rather intimate, little prying, but we certainly appreciate your candor in sharing these bits of yourselves with us here in the studio and also with our listening base. Once again, this has been As the Dice Turn. Sharon and I thank you so much for listening to this little part of the show. And once again, and as always, keep those dice turning. Hey there, dear listeners. Thank you so much for listening to our show. It means the world to us that people are taking time out of their busy schedules to give us a listen. We're going to keep trying to make the best show we can here, and we hope that you stick around for the ride. Got a couple plugs here at the end of the program. Some people we want to thank. First off, the theme song for our show, as well as almost all of the music and sound effects, were crafted by hand by the incredibly talented Danielle Taylor Williams. You can find more of her beautiful music at danielletaylorharp.bandcamp.com. She actually has a new album out called Why Are We Surprised When Seasons Change? You can find that on bandcamp.com as well. I highly recommend you check out her music. She is incredibly talented. We also want to give thanks to our friends at the Blinders Off podcast, another incredible local podcast ran by some very kind folks that actually run a class where they teach you how to make your own podcast here in the St. Louis area. You can find these events on blindersoff.show. They actually have a coupon code that is exclusive to us. If you would like to take one of these intro to podcasting classes, you can use the coupon code CAST. That is CAST. Coupon code CAST to save $10 on your tickets to one of these lovely events. That is Intro to Podcasting. You can find these events on the Blinders Off Facebook page or at blindersoff.show. Give them a listen. If you're in the St. Louis area, you have any interest in podcasting, go to these classes. Save yourself some money. It's all good stuff. I also wanted to let our listening audience know that Brian and myself will be working an event at Apotheosis Comics and Lounge on South Grand here in St. Louis. If you would like to come see us and come play Dungeons and Dragons with us, we're doing an event called Drinks and Dragons at Apotheosis Comics. It's a nice sort of light one-shot homebrew adventure that Brian and I create to pair with a beer. It's $20 to come in, get a beer, and play D&D for about 3 hours. It's Brian and myself each running a table, about 10 players a table. And it's a great opportunity to roll some dice, meet some friends, and get out of the house on a Friday night. Drinks and Dragons, that is happening at Apotheosis Comics, September 20th from 8 to 11. If you'd like to swing by, come say hi to Brian and myself, who will each be running a separate table. It's a nice little level 1 adventure using 5e. All experience levels are welcome. If you've never played before, or if you're an old head with decades of experience, we highly urge you to come out and say hi, meet some folks, roll some dice. Again, that is September 20th at Apotheosis Comics and Lounge on South Grand here in St. Louis. You can find Apotheosis at apotheosiscomicsstl.com is where you can find that. The Drinks and Dragons event you can find on the Challenge Rating Zero Facebook page. Please be sure to give that a like and see what other events we have going on in the St. Louis area. There's a couple. And let's see, what else? Our As the Dice Turn segment. We are really running short on questions already. If any of our dear listeners would like to supply us with questions that we can pose to our player characters to get to know them better, to help us analyze their psychology, if there's anything you'd like to know about their backstory, their interests, their hopes, desires, anything like that, feel free to email us a question. You can send that to our email address, challengerating0, that's Z-E-R, the letter O, at gmail.com. Again, that's challengerating0 at gmail.com, all one word. Feel free to send us your questions with the subject line As the Dice Turns. If we like your questions, then we will use them on air, and you can be a part of what I hope is your favorite podcast. You don't have to tell me if it's not. I'll understand. But yeah, we We'd love to hear from you folks, get a little, audience interaction going. If anyone out there has anything they're dying to know about Rilla, Zurabak, or Hector, feel free to email us some questions. And like I said, if they're good, we will put them on air and you'll get your questions answered, on the show. So again, that's challengerating0@gmail.com. And put in the subject line as the dice turns. We hope to hear from you folks. Thanks again for listening to the show. It means the world to us that folks are taking time out of their schedule to enjoy our story. And till next time.